Hello, it's been quite a while. I'm not even sure when the last video I uploaded was, but yeah, it's now March, end of March, and I think probably the last iOS video probably was in the middle of January, or the end of January. So it's been, yeah, about 2 months. Um, I haven't been slacking off. Well, I've been slacking off sometimes, and uh, I've got an app that it's quite different from the last time. I'll just quickly go through it on the iPhone here. That's been a while. Just to bring people back to speed, besides doing Audacity development, I also write my own iOS apps. This one is a voice processor. And now it looks like this. I should probably run the simulator. No, but then you can't test it. So now it's a little different. There are, as you can see, there's some animated things, and I'm not sure even what the last version looked like, but there's this belt object that, and there's some cool animations like this is the animation for the phaser. It's all just using core graphics to animate each icon. I haven't finished drawing all the icons. They're all procedurally generated textures, so they are a little time consuming, but they're a lot of fun because I try to just make some visual representation for the effect that uses the same formulas. Yeah. And what we've got down here, we've got, not too much has changed there on the effect part, on the playback part. There's some buttons on the top that use actual images, and that's what you're seeing on the screen right now. I had to draw all these buttons and learn about gradients and such. That wasn't so much fun. But there's also the ability to save and load. I'm not sure if this was in the previous one, but you can pick a sound, load it. So I want to load the sound called happy. You can also delete them here. That's all pretty much built-in functionality. I didn't have to write too much code to do that. And now we have a different sound. And we just use, NS coding to save the documents and such. But that's pretty much it. There's now cumulative effects if you use the stack feature, but I'm going to be modifying the interface design a bit, so that's going to go out really quickly. What I want to work on today is, so this is how the top portion of the app looks. It's not ideal. I mean, to me, the slider bars really stick out. That might be new too. You can now control effect parameters. So for example, if I set phaser, oh, that's not such a, so the stretch effect is a good one. So this is at the standard pitch, but now I can raise the pitch up to whatever, 2, and we get a very different sound. Yeah, so I mean, like, functionally it has pretty much what I want in the app that I'm going to release. There will be a few changes. Stuff like I want to use the disk space instead of memory for recording, so you can record arbitrarily long sounds. And there are a couple other things I will want to tweak for sure. The main thing right now is the way the GUI looks. It's not, I mean, there's a lot of crud just left in there from testing. Like if you look at the belt, this purple line that I can slide things. I think this was there before. There's still that noise animation in the background, and also true for the main sound block. I'm going to change all of that too, and hopefully that'll happen in these 2 weeks. Yeah, and this part is, I find it a little hard to deal with because it's not code, right? You have to sit down. I've drawn quite a few things in empty paint for these sessions, and I'll probably continue to do that. Let me see, how do I get rid of this? I guess I can just do new. Yeah. Yeah, so let's get my good old pen. Yeah, so I can still draw here, and that's great. But what do I want to talk about? Yeah, I've had to, you know, sometimes do right on paper too. When I really like looking at the paper for like design problem stuff when you're doing data structures, but it's still kind of fun when you're doing these actual GUI design stuff. And for this, I was trying to pick what kind of slider I want to do. What do I want to do to replace the sliders? It's I think I'm going to go with something like, yeah, there's a lot of fun looking ones, but I think I'm going to go with something like this. So this is the effect bar, that pink thing, and the sliders will just come down below, and they'll use these triangular things that ramp up and have a line connecting it to the actual effect to show that these sliders are relevant to the effect. Because right now it kind of is, the sliders look like their own entity contained by themselves. So let me just go ahead and redo that here. There is, you know, I can use straight lines. I've gotten a lot better at empty paint. Obviously that's all relative, of course, but if this is our effect bar, and now we have these animated logos which are pretty cool. That's what our echo effect looks like. And then the sliders will come down. I think there will be a little port, because this is kind of standard in various signal processing GUI stuff like Max MSP or PD, or I guess SuperCollider doesn't really have this, but there are a few other ones that have the idea of input and output ports. We only have input ports for the parameters, but I think it's going to be a box like this, so it's contained, and then in the middle of the box there's just going to be a ramp, goes like that. That was pretty straight. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. And then maybe, I'm not sure about this, but optionally below there will be a supporting line that only contains the controlling area. And in that you can control a slider. So this will actually be the point of control, and above that there will be a solid line that shows where the slider is at. And then, oh, you're gonna witness my mad gradient skills that I learned. So I'm actually not sure where the oh, here it is. So there's this window, yeah. And so if I do like, I don't know, how about black to red? Yeah. So if I go like this, no, that's not right. Yeah, there's a gradient tool, so I want to. Okay, that's not right either. Oops. How do you redo? Control R. Okay, so there's a color. Yeah, anyway, that's not so important, but there'll be a gradient here, and I won't draw it. That's fine. So this is the basic thing, and right now we are currently writing the name of the effect, like distortion or whatever. Why isn't this drawing? What's going on? Yeah, there, it was on gradient. Okay, so there'll be the name of the effect, say robot, no, not robot, distortion, and there will be a number. I find I really like seeing numbers, you know, as long as there's something meaningful. So I think for start and end point we're gonna put number in a very light faded thing. So for example, like I'll use this kind of, if it's 20, just in the background, of course drawn somewhat more intelligently than that, and 0 here, or whatever, 2. And there are, Yeah, later we're going to get into this, but there's going to be several types of sliders. Right now our parameters have several types. They're linear, they're exponential, or they're discrete. So the discrete one's obviously a little bit of a challenge, because sometimes you mean a discrete thing that is linear, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's in the end they all come down to numbers, the parameters. Sometimes we just use those numbers to represent arbitrary states like yellow, red, green, blue, orange. I mean, putting aside RGB and frequency values for colors, all of that has... Actually, I'm seeing that my mic is clipping, so let me turn that down a little bit. Yeah, all of those values are to me, colors are pretty much not, there's no order to them, so I don't want to see this kind of ramp thing necessarily. So we're going to have some way of dealing with that. And translating, for example, discrete into a meaningful state, like yellow, or example that we would use in our application is, yeah, we have this. Oh, here's one. We have a robot effect now. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, let me show you some of the effects. Fortunately, there's very lame recordings of myself.
This is a long sound. I'm seeing long sounds.
So this is the bass. Yeah. And now there's this robot effect that doesn't have an icon yet. And the slider is meaningless right now. It's discrete. And so that means the only values that should come out of it are like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And the parameter is called robotness. So if I set that to 5, you get this.
This is a long sound. I'm seeing long sounds with O's and E's and I's and O's. And that's all really. There's not real speech in this.
Yeah, and it's a little robot-y, sure. This is a pretty standard effect when you're dealing with a phase vocoder. Okay, I'm going to put it at 2.
This is a long sound. I'm seeing long sounds with O's.
I don't really hear this continuous change from 2 to 5. I mean, I could put in the middle too, and yeah, there would be some continuity, but it's not like it got more roboty or less roboty to me. That's because all we do is we vary the FFT size we use for the phase vocoder. So for something like that, I probably want a flat rectangle. Anyway, that's enough talking about the design. I think this is enough to start implementing. And yeah, so we've got a little pretty picture. So let's start to think about what we're going to do to implement. Currently, I'm using the UI kit slider, just called UI slider. I'm very tempted to just subclass that, so I won't have to change really much code that's in there right now. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or a bad idea. I think I might have already subclassed it. Let me check. By the way, I got a new Mac. So, yeah, so now I'm using VNC. It seems like it doesn't crash on copy like the old one did. And on the other hand, there's a ton of stuff that broke with Lion, including what is it? Actually, I'm spacing out. I don't know what I'm talking about. Some of the VNC clients won't work that used to, pretty much. Yeah, this VNC client does, but the one I used to use doesn't. Fortunately, I can't set this one to view-only mode, so maybe it's a good thing. I can directly use the Mac, but there would be a little bit of lag. So what am I looking for? Yeah, so you notice there's a ton more classes. Now there's, I don't know how many classes, but there's about probably 12 to 15,000 lines of code now. Yeah, as a way of patting my back, I've been counting